Listen only mode. I don't know about that, Coach Bear, but I like to have my webinar participants able to speak. All right, we're about 1 minute away here, Kachinas, from dominating the day. I'm your mental performance coach, Brian Cain. You know this one, the Bear is what I call her. You probably refer to her as Coach Cain. And we got French Bulldogs coming in. Why don't we pull one up before we get started? Come here. We know everyone's on the call just to see one thing. Cecilio Ticas, French Bulldog. Here, this is Yodi, named after your Arizona Coyotes. Yodi, guess what? You see that time? It's 5 o'clock. What's that mean? Oh, it's go time. Kachina's fired up to be here. Thank you for making time. Guess what we're going to get started with? We're going to get started with a question. So I need you to open up your chat function here on your webinar. And in your chat function, what I need to know is, do you want to see a magic trick to get this party started?
Squash says Yodi is my favorite.
Well, yeah, squash, yes. Okay, Aaron Jones. No, shirt. Eric Jones coming in for sure. Kind of Sullivan wants to see a magic trick, and Emma wants to see a magic trick. Now, okay, here we go. Let me give you a magic trick, because this magic trick, Barry, have you ever seen this?
Yes, I have.
It's not the answer I was looking for, but a great magic trick. And there's a bulldog, couple bulldogs back here in the corner, just in case you want to keep your eyes on them. Now, this magic trick, to get started, is going to teach you the important aspect of what today's seminar is. You see, as hockey players, you spend time on the ice. You spend time hopefully in the weight room or conditioning, working your bodies into physical strength. You spend time doing dry land, just working out in your driveway or somewhere that you can with a stick and a ball or something, working on your skills. Today, we're talking about the most important skill you have as a hockey player, the 6 inches between your ears that control the 6 feet below. This trick here, you see, this is what your Kachina season is. This is what's happened. You see, what's happened is all of a sudden coronavirus shows up and the corona season comes into play. And with the corona, stepped on my cord. Good, Bear. With the corona season, here's what happens is you have a brand new opportunity. Just like this book. This book is brand new. There's no pictures on the pages. We call that what, Bear?
Blank?
I was going to say white like ice,
White,
but that's fine.
like
Blank
ice.
works too. It's like a blank slate. Like you have a blank slate right now. You got to ask yourself the question, Kachina, am I going to make the most out of this corona season, or is it going to make the most out of me? Am I going to be a victim of the corona season? No. I'm going to be the victor. And what we're going to do for you today, from a mental performance standpoint, let me raise the screen because this is really uncomfortable on my back. Good. What we're going to do today is I'm going to share with you some of the same principles and processes that I have the privilege to share with some of the top coaches and athletes in the country. And what those are going to do is it's going to help you. First of all, I need everybody out there, rub something black or just rub something black or gray if you would. Rub something black or gray. On the count of 3, throw it at me. 1, 2, 3, through the screen, caught it here, pow! It's those black and white pages. Now all of a sudden, those pages start to take full-on shapes. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a framework. What's a framework? A framework is basically like a system. Like you play hockey with systems, right? I'm going to give you a mental performance system. Things to do. For example, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a copy of my book, The Mental Game of Ice Hockey. I'm going to send you a paperback or a digital copy. The Bear will figure out how to get that to you. And all you do is if you think about reading one chapter a week, I mean, there's a testimonial on the back from an Olympian named Lindsay Fry. Pow. If what you're going to do is you're just going to read one chapter a week, 10 weeks, that brings you to about Memorial Day. And what the Bear will do is offering up her services is at some point during this, maybe 5 weeks in, you're going to do a webinar and talk about the mental game of ice hockey going through the book with the Kachinas. How's that sound? Does it sound good?
We could possibly do that.
Fantastic. Now, that's just one of many things I want to give you today. So you're going to get this book. The plan is, Bear, if you want to take notes here, read one chapter a week for 10 weeks. Now, if you do the work, guess what happens? Those pages that you saw that were originally, originally there was nothing on them. Then you threw something black and white at me and those pages all of a sudden had pictures on them. If you do what we're talking about today, your hockey career and those pages, pow, are going to become full color. Full on color. But guess what? If you don't do anything we talk about today, guess what? You're just wasting time, and your book's going to have no pictures and it's going to have no color. That's a magic trick. Would you please give me a round of applause? Let me hear it, Kachinas. Thank you, Bear. Actually, let's make it louder. That works much better when you're live rather than when you're on a webinar, but we're going to have fun here today. So as we go into this webinar, I want to make sure that if you're taking notes or if you're not taking notes, let's have you do that. And Bear, if you can take notes somewhere, maybe in a Google Doc or something that we can then share with the Kachinas or Kachinas, you're all students and you have to be a student. Not only are you a student academically, probably we have, I think, student athletes on this call between 8 years old and 18. So you want to not only be a student academically, most importantly, you want to be a student of yourself. And you want to find out, how can you be the best version of you? How can you close the gap? I'm going to give you some cheese rustling. How can you close the gap from where I was not intending for that to happen. How can you close the gap from where you are to where you want to be? And if you're going to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be, it's not going to happen by accident. It's going to happen by intention. They never do this. They're putting on a show for the Kachinas. They know that there's people watching. They know it, and they're putting on a show. They never play like this. They always just lay in that bed and sleep. Anyway, let's continue. So you're going to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be. We all have a gap. The Bear had a gap as a college athlete. I was a college baseball player. We actually both went to the University of Vermont, and I had a big gap from where I was to where I wanted to be. You have those gaps. Can we get the Bulldogs out of here, please? And I want to help you close that gap. How we're going to close that gap, okay, is one is going to be the book. But here's another one. I want you to write this phone number down, please. And I want you to call this phone number. They're putting on an act for you guys. They never do this. All of a sudden, they get all fired up like I am because we're with the Kachinas, okay? Here's a phone number that I want you to call every day. So please go ahead and write this down. Bear will make sure we send this out. And actually, let's see if I can drop this in the chat. It's 973-743-4690. 973-743-4690. Now, before you pick up your phone and call Squash, let me explain. March 2006. I'm a high school athletic director in the state of Vermont. We're at a leadership conference, and this speaker comes out. He's got a cane, and he's kind of like hobbling up on stage, and he comes up to the podium, which is the thing you stand behind before you speak, and he takes this piece of paper out of his pocket, and he says, "Hello, Vermont. My name is Rob Gilbert." I'm sitting there going, "Does this guy really have to look to tell us what his name was?" He continues. He says, "Today, we're talking about leadership." And I'm sitting there in the audience right now. Some of you are high school age. Some of you are younger than that. The Bears, acts like she's in high school, but she's not. But you're sitting there and you're thinking this guy is going to read to us for the next 45 minutes or the next 90 minutes. Now that like kind of high school athletes are looking around going, "Are you kidding me? Is this guy going to read to us?" And then he makes the most impressive move of all time. He grabs the podium, slams the podium down, jumps up on it like he's snowboarding, like he's Shaun White, and he goes, "Hey, Vermont, I said, wake up. I said, if you're going to sit there and listen to me talk like that the whole time, you got to get up and get out of here because that's going to waste all of our time." Everyone's like, "What? Where is he going with this?" He goes, "Everybody stand up." Everybody stands up. He starts playing this music. Everyone's clapping their hands. You're laughing. You're dancing. He's doing magic tricks like the coloring book. It's where I got it. He's holding up the sign, "Applause louder." It's where I got it. And then he gets done with his seminar, and my hand is like cramping because I had taken so many notes. He gets done with the seminar, and he says, "Hey, Vermont," like I'm going to get done with the seminar and say, "Hey, Kachinas, raise a hand if you took something out of today that you feel like can help you in your life." Boom. He goes, "Raise a hand if you're inspired." Boom. "Raise a hand if you took more notes today than you have with any other speaker." Boom. My hand's up. He goes, "Well, I got news for you." He says, "You won't do anything with what you learned today." And he goes walking off the stage. And I'm sitting there going, "Where is this guy going, man? I just took more notes. I was inspired." He talked about things that day that I did 10 years later. He talked about doing an Ironman triathlon. It took me 10 years to do it. So it was 10 years in the making before I was able to execute on some of the things that he shared. And then this professor, the speaker named Dr. Rob Gilbert, he walks back to the podium and he says, Vermont, I said you wouldn't do anything with what you heard today unless, and this is the big piece, unless you put it into something that you do every day. So, Kachinas, let's be really clear. This is not a motivational talk, although hopefully it's motivating. This is not entertainment, although hopefully it's entertaining. This is about moving from temporary to legendary. Temporary is you get a bunch of drills from your coaches on video and you do them once. Legendary is you put them into a plan and a routine and you hit it consistently like brushing your teeth or making your bed. So don't be temporary. Be what? Post it inside of the chat. Who's got the answer? Don't be temporary. Be what? Who's going to come in here? Who's got it? Who's got the chat? Don't be temporary. Be what? Legendary.
Legendary.
Don't, Aaron, this is for the Kachinas. I know you're excited, but
Here,
don't be, oh, it's coming
they
in
got
there?
it. Yeah.
Why
Jones
don't I? Oh,
and
there it is right
Lena
there.
Travis.
Eric Jones coming in.
Oh,
Lena
there's
Travis.
Victoria or Alexis.
Fantastic. Don't be temporary, be legendary. Now, what does that mean, Lena Travis? What that means is you want to be consistent. Look, if you want to be an Olympian like Lindsay, if you want to play Division I college hockey, if you want to be on the Gap Tour, if you want to play in the WHL, you got to become consistent. Consistency, my friends, is the key to unlock every single door in your life. So I'm going to give you what Dr. Gilbert gave us that day. He says, you won't do anything until you put it into something that you do every day. Are they showing me the main? Did they say me or this? Oops. Lindsay Fry, do you see me or do you see my screen right now? First time using this GoToWebinar.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I see you up at the top of the screen, but I think you need to figure out. I do see your main screen at the bottom, so we got to figure out how to full screen you.
Good. Should ask that from the beginning. Full screen. View presenter. No? Not it?
Let me see.
Good. We'll continue. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we can see you. Okay.
Fantastic. So Dr. Gilbert says this. He says, Vermont, you won't do anything. Aaron, see if you can figure that out. He says, you won't do anything with what you have learned today unless you put it into something you do every day. So here's what I want you to do, Kachinas. Dr. Gilbert says, look, and I've helped you. I've created a hotline called Success Hotline. And he said on January 22nd, 1992.
I think that's better.
January 22nd, 1992. It says not showing anything. You know, they're showing that white slide. Whatever. We'll get it figured out. If you can hear, if you can hear me, you're good. You probably couldn't see my magic trick, so maybe it didn't come off as good. Good. Here we go. So Rob Gilbert says, he says, look, if you just call this hotline every day, that will give you something to do. And to be successful and be consistent, you have to do a little, a lot. Do a little, a what? Post it inside of our chat. Don't do a lot, a little. Do a little, a what? Lot. Don't do a lot, a little. Do a little, a lot. And doing a little, a lot is a little touch every day. It's you grabbing your hockey stick every day. Doesn't mean you have to go out and work on skill for an hour. It does mean you have to work on it every day. That's how greatness is achieved. And then Dr. Gilbert said, he said, look, it was January 22nd, 1992. He says, I'm a professor of sports psychology at Montclair State, New Jersey. I have a student who comes in the first week of class and says, Dr. Gilbert, I have to drop out of class. I got sick. I've got to start chemotherapy in the hospital. I'm not going to be able to make it to class. And he says, I don't want you to drop out. I want you to get an A. And you don't even have to come to class to get an A. She's like, what? He said, all you have to do is you have to just call this answering machine every day and listen for 3 minutes. He said, I'm going to leave you a 3-minute message on this answering machine. All I want you to do is call and listen, and then you leave me a message. She said, that's all I got to do. He goes, yeah, if you miss 5 days out of the semester, you get a B. You miss 10, you get a C. You miss more than 10, and I'm going to fail you. She's like, all I got to do is call and listen. That's it. So every day, for the semester, he left her a 3-minute message. She would call and listen, leave him a message about what she heard and how it helped her life. And then this is back in 1992. So you used to get a paper phone bill in the mail. If any of your parents are listening, they'll know what I'm talking about. You used to get a paper phone bill in the mail that would say who you called, who called you, and how long the conversation lasted. And he said when he got the phone bill, it wasn't just the student who was in the hospital that was calling, it was her family. It was everyone who was in the class. It was her extended family and people that he didn't even recognize the number or know who they were, but he was getting over 100 calls a day for people to listen. And he said that changed him. What started off was just a simple gesture to help a student through a difficult time turned into the success hotline that he's now left a message on every day since January 22nd, 1992. That's over 10,600 days. And Kachinas, please take this. I want you to call Success Hotline every day and listen for 3 minutes. And I want you to have an accountability partner, whether it's a sibling, whether it's a family member, whether it's a teammate, that maybe you have some kind of group text message or a group chat, and you just talk about back and forth what you took out of that message. So with no further ado, let's call Success Hotline together. I'm going to put this on speaker because today's a very special message. I'm actually going to tape this message because it's not every day that you get to call Success Hotline with an elite group of athletes like the Kachinas. Let's give it a call. It's just 3 minutes a day. That's all you do is you call and you listen.
Ice hockey program and their great Olympic medalist, Lindsay Fry. If you're feeling panicky, we've ever had to deal with war, and we are at war with this virus. So feelings of panic are not inappropriate. With those feelings might be rules for coping with panic. Unfortunately, the author is unknown, but whoever it was, that person is a genius. 10 rules for coping with panic. Number one, remember that the feelings of panic are nothing more than an exaggeration of the normal bodily reaction to stress. Remember that the feelings of panic are nothing more than an exaggeration of the normal bodily reaction to stress. Number two, these feelings are not in the least bit harmful or dangerous. They are not harmful and dangerous, just unpleasant. Nothing worse will happen. Three, stop with frightening thoughts about what is happening and where it might lead. Stop adding to the panic with frightening thoughts about what is happening and where it might lead. Number four, notice what is really happening in your body right now, not what you fear might happen. Notice what is happening in your body right now, right at this moment, not what you fear might happen. Number five, wait and give the fear a time to pass. Give those panicky feelings a time to pass. Do not fight it or run away from it. Just accept it. Six, notice that once you stop adding to it with frightening thoughts, the fear starts to fade by itself. Notice that once you stop adding to it with frightening thoughts, the fear starts to fade by itself. Seven, remember that the whole point of practice is to learn how to cope with fear without avoiding it. So this is an opportunity to make progress. Number eight, think about the progress you have made so far. Despite all the difficulties, think about how pleased you will be when you succeed this time. When you begin to feel better, look around you and start to plan what to do next. And number 10, when you are ready to go on, start off in an easy, relaxed way. There is no need for effort or hurry. So the 10 rules for coping with panic. Hope they help. I know they help me.
Dr. Gilbert, Brian Cain, Kachinas will start calling Success Hotline every day, 973-743-4690. All right, Kachinas, what I want to hear is if you would post inside of our chat, what's the number one thing that you took out of that message? And it might have been hard to hear. If it was hard to hear, make sure you call again before your head hits the pillow. But what was the number one thing you took out of that message? And when someone leaves a message like that every day for 10,600 days, I will share with you that some days are not going to be relevant for you. Some days will not impact you, but most of them will. So what I want you to do is I want you to call every day and I want you to listen to Success Hotline. Other thing we're going to do is we're going to send you this book and I want you to do one chapter a day. Thank you, Aaron. One chapter a week. That's 2 things for you to get started. Now, when we talk about elite mindset, let me share with you some other key concepts of elite mindset. Is I want you to start to think about using the word have to, but turning that into either get to or want to. So if you think you have to go to school online, you don't. You get to or you want to. You don't have to go out and condition. You get to or you want to. So the key is, who's going to answer this first, is to turn have to into what? Turn have to into, can you take this and run that?
Want to, get to, want to.
Turn have to
Squash,
into
Aubrey, Paris.
get to or want to. Fantastic. So turn have to into get to or want to. That's one of the key aspects of an elite mindset. Here's another key aspect of an elite mindset is to control the things that you can control. So I want you, if you have notes, hopefully you're taking this webinar as a student and you have notes. I want you to make 2 lists of notes. What you can control, what you can't control. So I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to spin some tunes if I can. We'll see if that comes up. I'm not sure if it will. But I'm going to spin some tunes for you. Give you 1 minute. Make a list. Cannot control. Go ahead. What can you not control right now in your life as a Kachina? Hopefully on the top of that list, you got coronavirus. Can't control that. What else can you not control? Cannot control. Making a list. Can't control. Siblings. Can't control. I'll throw a couple more at you. Coaches. Can't control. Parents. Can't control. Weather. Can't control. Teammates. Can't control. How I feel every day. Can't control. Outcome.
You guys can start adding what you can't control to the questions.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you, Aaron. Let's have you add in here. What can you not control? Squash coming in with the weather. Can't control the weather. If you could, we'd call you the weather woman.
School being closed.
Can't control school being closed. Can't control referees. You can't control life. Well, you can influence life, but you can't control it. Sometimes things are going to happen. Here's a key thing I want you to write down, though, about when things that you can't control happen, like coronavirus, like a ref's bad call, like something in life, like literally stepping off of a curb, walking out of your car into the arena, and you roll your ankle. I had a UFC fighter, a mixed martial arts fighter who was getting ready to make his MMA debut, his first fight ever. He was in the locker room before he was walking to the cage. He was literally doing his last tuck jump. Bear, show him what a tuck jump is.
Oh gosh.
Tuck jump. He's in the locker room getting warmed up, getting ready to go fight, and he does a tuck jump. Last one, watch your head. Boom. Jumps up like that. Jumps up, pulls his feet up. Boom. Catches his ankle on the side of one of those mats that they were rolling around on. You hear pop. He goes down like he got shot. Stands up, can't walk, can't put any pressure on it. Within a matter of seconds, it blew up like the size of a softball. They said, Sean, you can't go fight, man. You can't even walk into the cage. He's like, I'm going. He had all this adrenaline. I'm going. He couldn't walk. So imagine you getting ready to make your NHL debut. It's the national anthem. And some jerk in the stands, let's just say happenstance, throws something out into the arena, into the ice. And it hits you in the back of the head, you get a concussion, and they don't let you play. That's kind of like what happened to this guy. and he's never made it back to the UFC. That's called an event. Coronavirus is an event. Your season getting canceled, ladies, is an event. Life is going to throw events at you that are really good, really exciting, and some that are not. But here's what I want you to write down. E plus R equals O. This is part of elite mindset that I cover in the book, The Mental Game of Ice Hockey, that we're going to share with you. E plus R equals O. Where did I first hear it? You got it. Success Hotline. Anybody know what E plus R equals O stands for? I'm going to give you a 5-second countdown. 5, 4, put it inside of our chat. 3, 2, 1. It stands for event plus response equals outcome. Event plus response equals outcome. Look, you don't control the events that happen to you. You don't control the events that happen around you. You control your response to those events. And that response that you take is going to influence the outcome. Your response that you take is essentially your attitude. And please write this down, Kachina's attitude is a decision. If Lindsay Fry were to say, hey, Brian, you got any cool slogans for the back of a t-shirt? I'd say this one, coach. Attitude is a decision. Ladies, the attitude that you take is a decision that you make, and it's probably the most important decision you're going to make on a daily basis. No, wait, pause. No, probably. It is the most important decision you're going to make on a daily basis because your attitude will determine your altitude and how high you go in this game and how high you go in life. But your attitude must be of one where you focus on what you can control. So you made your list of what you can't control. Let's make the list of what you can control. C-A-N. You got 1 minute. Can control. Go ahead and rock and roll on what you can control. Look at those bulldogs back in here.
It's my life, it's now or never. I'm gonna live forever. It's gonna live my life.
A little fade out for you there, Kachinas. Hey, let's take the things that you can control and keep putting them here inside of our questions and our answers. The things that I can control when you practice, whether you keep training or not, what you eat. Some of these things are going to be dictated by like who's making the food for you. Like if you make your own food, you can control what you eat. But if you're doing your grocery shopping, you can control what you eat. Sometimes these things are made for you. These decisions are made for you. But what you want to know is what can you control? Let me give you a little acronym here. And the acronym is APE. A-P-E. Attitude and appearance. Now, when I'm talking about appearance, it's not what color your hair is today. It's not how tall you are. It's your body language. What's your body language saying? What your body language is saying says a lot about the state that you're in. And the 2 words I want you to write down with body language, gals, is get big. You got to get big with your body language. You got to walk around like you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And the reason why is that's going to give you the best chance for success. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Lindsay Fry, can you hear us right now? Can you communicate here? Can the Kachinas hear you talking?
I think so.
Fantastic. I know I can hear you talking. Lindsay, this book right here called Presence by a woman named Amy Cuddy, professor at Harvard, social psychologist at Harvard. Did you ever have class with her by any chance?
I did not. I was not a psych major, but I'm sure she's awesome.
She is fantastic, and she has a TED Talk. Bear, if you would please find this link and drop it in there. Amy Cuddy, A-M-Y-C-U-D-D-Y. Gal, she has a TED Talk, and you might not know what TED Talks are if you're 8 years old. They're just cool talks like this that we're doing, just more formal. No French bulldogs. And this woman, Amy Cuddy, did a talk. It's got over 50 million views. And she said this about confidence, because the other thing I want to talk about tonight, besides just mindset and what you can do every day to go from temporary to legendary, is confidence. And she said that confidence is shaped by your body language. She says your presence, your body language shapes who you become. So she talked about being big in power posing. And in her study, she took people and said, hey, I want you to sit there on an iPhone. And when an iPhone, they do a thing called the eye hunch, where you sit here and you're hunched over like this, like you're riding a bike in the arrow position, and you're on your phone, small body language. And then she had them come to like a big iPad or a touch screen. So their spine was a little bit more straight, bigger body language. And then the third group, they went into this room. In this room, they had pictures of like Wonder Woman, pow, standing big. They had people crossing a finish line with their arms in the air, all these big power poses. And what they would do is they would test, they would take a little blood sample before, take a little blood sample after. And they would test for cortisol, which is like the stress hormone we don't want, and testosterone, which is like the, go get it competitor hormone that we do want. And what she found was that the bigger your posturing, or the bigger you're posing, or the bigger your body language, the more you were primed for success. Okay. So what does this mean for an 8 to 18-year-old Kachina? It means this: get big. Walk around like you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Walk around like you're a champion. Look, don't wait until someone gives you a championship belt or gives you a gold medal to be a champion. Walk like a champion beforehand, and you have a better chance at becoming one. So when we talk about confidence, body language becomes critical. The other piece that's critical around confidence is focus. That brings us back to controlling what you can control, because you can control your focus. Okay, so when we talked about the acronym for what I wanted you to remember about what you could control, it was APE, attitude and appearance. Here's the P: presence, which is your focus; posture, which ties back to body language; how positive you are, that's your attitude. Remember, your attitude is a decision. And the other one is your preparation. And gals, write this down, please. Separation is in preparation. Separation is in preparation. You want to take the Kachinas to be the greatest hockey organization in the country? Prepare for it. And that preparation happens today. Please write this down. Today plus today plus today equals your career. Look, Lindsay Fry doesn't all of a sudden one day when she's at Harvard say, I want to be an Olympian. No. You know when that decision happened? In a movie theater watching the Mighty Ducks when she was probably 10 years old. Lindsay, how old were you when you saw that movie? Do you remember?
I was 4.
Fantastic. Even younger. 4 years old watching a movie, The Mighty Ducks, and she goes, I want to do that. And then everyday decisions. Every little day. Every day you're going to be challenged with making decisions. Decisions to take one step towards where you want to go in your goals, or you're going to take one step back from where you want to go. But today plus today plus today, Kachinas, is going to determine your hockey career. And the best part about this is this works for your life. Look, today plus today plus today is going to determine who you become as a student. You want to go to Harvard, or do you want to go to Vermont like us? We would have rather we would have rather gone to Harvard, But we didn't apply ourselves when we were younger like Lindsay did, so we couldn't get in. Okay, fine, I didn't. Bear wanted to go to Vermont. She wanted to play in a great barn called Gutterson Arena. I respect that. Exactly. But here's the deal. It's the daily decisions that you make. Small, slow, daily. Don't count the days. Do what? Oh, let's see who's going to put it inside of the group chat. Don't count the days. Do what? Let's see. No coach is answering here. Coach Shaw, you're probably watching this. You probably know. Don't count the days. Do what? Boom. Make the days count. Thank you. Don't count the days, make the days count. You see, today plus today plus today equals your career. In the way that you dominate the day, the way that you get the most out of the day is by controlling what you can control. Attitude and appearance, process or preparation, perspective, your presence, your passion. Now let's take a look at a couple E words that you can control. She can control Aaron. That's an E word. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to post inside of our chat here, what are some E words that you can control? I'm thinking of a couple of them. What are some E words you can control? Oh, you want music? No problem. Let me spin some tunes. I always wanted to be a DJ. What do you got? Whoop. Here we go. Let's do some E words. Yeah, it's loud, Aaron. We're trying to bring the juice around here. Here we go. Let's dial that back down to a more reasonable level of volume. What are some E words? Emotion. Yeah, you can control emotion with great training for sure. Eating, you can control what you eat most of the time. Effort, for sure. And effort counts twice. I want you to write that down. Effort counts twice. Okay. Emotions. You can control Emma.
It's her name, so she can control herself.
Emma, touche. Touche. Well done.
Emma B.
Well played. Can control effort, can control emotion, can control energy, enthusiasm. Hey, everyone take a look at the word enthusiasm that was put there. Let's see if I get this right. Talia Bratcher. Is that right?
They can't see
They can't see
whatever.
what everyone's answering. Well, guess what?
Maybe.
Talia Bratcher, if I'm saying that right. Talia, you put down the word enthusiasm, one of my favorite words of all time. And gals, I want you to all write down the word enthusiasm for a second. Because one of the greatest football coaches of all time, a guy by the name of Vince Lombardi, they named the Super Bowl trophy after him. If you win the Stanley Cup in hockey, you win the Lombardi trophy in American football. Vince Lombardi said this. He said, if you're not fired up with enthusiasm every day, you will be fired by someone with enthusiasm. But if you look at the word enthusiasm, the last four letters, IASM, you want to know what that stands for? I am sold myself. And every day, Kachinas, let me kill the music on this one. Every day you're selling something. What are you selling? Are you selling that you want to be a frontliner? Are you selling that you want to play in college? Are you selling to your parents that are paying for you to play ice hockey that it's what you want to do with your life right now? What are you selling every day? Are you selling to your coaches in practice that you're going to go all out or you're going to hold back? Look, we talked about the two types of mindsets, have to versus get to. Let's talk about this mindset, all out, all in, right? Or I'm going to go all out or I'm going to hold back. Look, you can't hold back. If you want something, you got to go all in after that thing. Does that mean you're going to guarantee to get results? No, but it does give you this. Please write this down. This is what you want to base your decision making on, ladies, is give you the best chance for success. What can you do to give you the best chance for success? And if we come back to our mindset, what's going to give you the best chance for success? Growing your mindset like doing push-ups, calling Success Hotline every day. What's going to help you grow your mindset? Reading a chapter a week of the mental game of ice hockey. Those are the two major things we're going after. Those are the two things you can do every day. Here's another one. We've talked about controlling what you can control. We talked about confidence. Look, here's one of the biggest mistakes. I have the chance, I work with a lot of female college athletes, mostly softball, some soccer, some lacrosse. Work with a lot of female college athletes. And if I were to send them a survey and say, what's one question you have for me? And Bear, let's do this. Let's pose a question here to these female athletes, the Kachinas, and ask them the question, what questions do they have that we might be able to answer here in our last 10 minutes together, okay? And when I ask those to college athletes before I go into work with their teams, you want to know what they say most of the time? Is they say, yeah, three things. They say, can you help me with anxiety? I get nervous before games. Can you help me with depression? When I don't play well, I carry it for a couple days and it beats me up. And they say, I want to play with more confidence. So yeah, no problem. Let's do it. So when we talk about like anxiety, where does anxiety largely come from? Okay, anxiety, that nervous feeling that you have, comes from like being obsessed with what's going to happen in the future. Now, I want you to do this because we all get anxious. I got anxious for this call, but you know what I've learned to do? I've learned to say, I'm not anxious, I'm excited. And they are processed the same way. You could say that anxiety is excitement without the breath. So you want to turn anxiety into excitement and use it as fuel for you to focus where your skates are, where your feet are. Don't count the days, make the days count. Now, depression comes from like, I'm living too much in the past. Like if I thought about my college athletic career, I'd be depressed because that was terrible. I didn't know anything that we're talking about today. The Bear, she was good. I wasn't. Bear's a Hall of Famer at Vermont. I'm a Hall of Shamer at Vermont because I stole money from the university because I was so bad on scholarship. Okay. But as I look back on it, I've now learned to look back and say, well, that's made me better today. So anxiety comes from I'm too far in the future. Depression comes from I'm too far in the past. Where optimal performance and the most confidence comes from is being where your feet are right here, right now, this call, this moment, this day. Don't count the days, make the days count. Let's talk about confidence. Biggest mistake I see athletes make, especially women college athletes, which you will be, is that they focus on confidence as a feeling. Someone says, or like the parents say, you going to a big game today? Feeling confident? Wrong question. Here's the question I'd ask. Going into a game today, you're going to act confident. Look, gals, confidence is something you do, not something you get. Confidence is an action, not a feeling. So if you want to get more confidence, act big with your body language, focus on what you can control, and when you talk to yourself, which we're always talking to ourselves. Now, Squash, you know what you're doing. You're sitting there going, talk to myself? What is this guy talking about? I don't talk to myself. Squash, that's the voice I'm referring to. You're talking to yourself right now going, I don't talk to myself. This guy's crazy. Look, Squash, you're talking to yourself. We all talk to ourselves, all right? So when you're talking to yourself, what are you saying? Are you telling yourself what you want or what you want to avoid? If you're telling yourself what you want to avoid, negative self-talk. Tell yourself what you want to do, positive self-talk. Like this guy wants to push the rock behind us. That's what you want to do. Now, here's what I want you to do. Okay, we're going to go into your questions, but I want to give you what I call a call to action. 1, call Success Hotline every day. I've been doing it since 2006. 2, read 1 chapter a week of the mental game Ice Hockey. Coach Cain's going to send that off to you.
I'll get it to you guys.
Brilliance. Here's 3. I'm not sure they're ready for it though.
Ooh.
I don't know if they're ready for it. Hang on.
Also, keep posting your questions in the.
I'm not sure
Questions
they're ready for it, Coach Cain. If you're ready for it, gals, I want you to type in "we're ready." You think you're ready for the third thing that I want you to do, the third call to action? I've given you a success hotline, given you the
Ready.
mental game of ice hockey. Also, I threw one in there called, "Hey, let's go watch Amy Cuddy's video presence." You think you're ready for it? All right. Well, if Lena Travis sounds like a country music singer, Lena, love that. If Lena Travis, country music singer and women's ice hockey player, is ready for it, here's what it is. I created a new program. It's not even released yet. It comes out April 7th. It's called 30 Days to Mental Performance Mastery for Athletes. Everything we covered and more inside of this program. So here's what I want you to do. Here's your third call to action. BrianCain.com. You'll see this face, so you'll know you're on the right website. BrianCain.com, and there's a link to a thing called Athletes, which you are. And when you go to the Athletes page, you'll be able to what's called join the insiders list, so I can send you information when this program comes out on April 7th. It's 30 days. If you're doing homeschool right now, as I poke myself in the eye, good. If you're doing homeschool right now and you go through this program, what this program is, it's a video online that you watch. Then there's a worksheet inside of here for each video that you fill out right there. Worksheet for video 5. And then there's like basically a chapter to read. So it's not hockey specific, but you know what it's specific for? Success. So call Success Hotline, read a chapter a week of the mental game of ice hockey, briancain.com/athletes. Aaron, you can send out a link that they can check because they may not taking notes, and you can check out the 30-day to mental performance mastery for athletes program. Kachina, it's been a lot of fun. Enjoyed this call. Let's take some questions. Any questions coming in here, Coach Bear?
We got how do I boost my confidence?
How do you boost your confidence? Go back to your BFS. Check in on your body language and get big. That's step 1. Lock in your focus on what you can control. That's step 2. Here's step 3 to confidence. Ask yourself, what must I do now? We lose confidence when we start thinking too far in the future, too far in the back. Ask yourself, what's important now? Or write this one down. I'm getting fired up right now. Write this one down. Win, W-I-N. What's important now? You want to dominate the day? Focus on what's important now. You want to find confidence? Ask yourself what's important now. Because when you're focused in the moment, you're not asking yourself, am I playing with confidence? Because you're playing free. You're playing free because you're focused on what you're doing. So confidence comes from body language, big, focus, in the moment, self-talk. What do I need to do now? Coach Bear. Any other questions?
What gives you enthusiasm to play?
What gives you enthusiasm to play? Whew, great question. Here's another activity you can do. You got to write down why you play. Look, your season didn't end when you lost your last game. Maybe for some of you, but most of you know your season didn't end because you won a championship. Your season just ended because of coronavirus. So it's a unique ending to a season. But you got to ask yourself, why do you play the game of hockey? You see, when you know why you're doing what you're doing, motivation and enthusiasm is not a problem. When we lose enthusiasm and we lose motivation, it's because we lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing. So you got to ask yourself why you play. What do you love about the game? And when you can write that down and you can go to it as a reminder, you're going to increase motivation, you're going to increase your enthusiasm. But ultimately, gals, energy is a choice. Look, you got to be juiceful, man. You got to bring the juice every day. Like if your mom says, hey, Squash, could you take the garbage outside of the road? You got to do it with enthusiasm, like your hair is on fire and you're trying to find a pool to jump into. Enthusiasm is a choice, man. Energy is a choice. And you got to be juiceful. Look, if you're juiceful, you're useful. And if you're juiceless, you're useless. So you got to bring the juice. And it's not Coach Cain or Coach Fry or anyone else's responsibility to get you juiced, but yours. And when you're the one who can be juiced all the time, they call you the juice machine. And you know what happens? People go to the juice machine for what? Juice. And when you got so much juice that can impact and influence your team, you might make a team simply because of your juice. You might make a roster not because you're going to put the puck in the net, jump in the way, and block a shot, but because you're going to push your teammates in practice in the weight room every day to get better because you bring the juice. Because if you're juiceful, you're useful. And if you're juiceless, you're useless. So you got to bring the juice. Anything else, Coach Cain, coming in?
Oh, we got, are you still doing sweat before screen?
Sweat before screen. Matter of fact, I track it on my phone is one of my daily habits. Yes. Try to do it 7 days a week. Realistically, I probably hit it 4 or 5 days a week. But yes, I'm intentional about sweat before screens. For sure. Great question.
So what is sweat before screen?
What is sweat before screens? Sweat before screens is I want to get up and work out before I get in front of a computer to do work. Reason being, once I get in front of a computer, like I like what I do every day a lot. I love doing this. And I get to do it like all day. The hard part for me is doing other things because I like doing this so much. So once I get in front of my computer and I start like being able to impact and coach through calls like this or emails or text messages, it's really hard for me to turn it off. So I have to get up and work out and sweat because I know that that gives me more energy. I know that gives me better focus. I know that's better for my health. If you can imagine, I used to be 60 pounds heavier than I am right now. Isn't that crazy? But what that does is that allows me to be better at what I do. So I like to sweat before screens, largely because I know it makes me better at what I do when I'm on the screen, but also because if I don't sweat before the screen, I'm probably not going to sweat. And a Brian Cain who hasn't sweat is no good for anybody.
I got a good question.
Good.
Do you recommend using mental imagery? And if so, how is this done for hockey?
Yeah. Do I recommend using mental imagery? Of course I do. Now, when you get the book, okay, there's a whole chapter dedicated to mental imagery. So I don't want to take a lot of time here, but there's 4 steps to imagery. Okay, this is all outlined in the book. Step 1 is you just do some relaxation. So right now, what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. I want you to inhale for a count of 6 through your nose. Hold for 2, and then exhale for 8. And just count. Inhale for 6, hold for 2, exhale for 8. And then I want you to go back to a moment in time when you were playing your best ice hockey. So step 1, relaxation. Then we're going to take you back. Go back to when you're playing your best ice hockey, whether that's Kachina's or if you're a coach listening to this when you were in college or wherever you were playing. And replay what it was like when you were your best. What did it sound like? What did it feel like? What did it look like? Make it as real as you possibly can. And now as you take another full deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, take that player you were when you were in your best to your next hockey performance. So let's imagine you're playing in a tournament at your home rink where you train every day. And as you go into that rink, you go in there, you're on the ice right now, the puck's about to drop. Just see, feel, and hear what it would be like for you to be out there. And now you guys have your team has the puck. You're moving it out of the defensive zone. I want you to go through and just feel what it would feel like as you're playing the game. Hear what it would sound like. See what it would look like. Feel what it would feel like. Now take a full deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. That's a very basic mental imagery. I'm going to nominate Coach Cain to make you a custom mental imagery audio for the Kachinas that she's going to email to you. That's going to be about 8 minutes a day. Pow! Another call to action for you to do every day is to go through a mental imagery audio that you're going to listen to on a daily basis. Let's call it 5 days a week, part of your mental performance training program. And by you seeing yourself play your best, that's going to give you more confidence and help you prepare. Are there any other questions coming in, Coach? I know I got 1 minute. I got my most important podcast in my life coming up here at 6.
No, that's about it. Someone, oh, of course, Squash asked, you drink a bang a day.
I'm cutting back on bangs. Yeah, maybe a bang a day, maybe 2. But yeah, cutting back on those. No, I use them when I need them. You know, I like. I'm not a big fan of energy drinks. I'm not a big fan of Monster or Bang. But I am also a bigger fan of energy than no energy. So if I'm feeling flat and I'm feeling tired, which we all do, then I will have something to go to, whether it be taking a nap, which if I can't take a nap, then I'll maybe have a Bang or some kind of like a Diet Coke, just something with some sugar and caffeine just to get me going. But most of the time, I want to be recovered enough with my 9 hours of sleep a night so I don't need to drink a Bang. So speaking of sleep, let's talk about sleep for a second. 9 hours and 15 minutes a night. That's the recommended quantity of sleep for someone who's in their developmental phase of life like you are, and I'd like to think that I am too at 41. So I schedule 9 hours and 15 minutes of sleep. 8:30 at bed, lights out. 5:30 in the morning, wake up and dominate the day. So Kachina's Success Hotline, Mental Game of Ice Hockey, briancane.com. There's a bunch of articles on there that you're going to dig. Click on the athletes program, join the insiders list coming out April 7th. Obviously, if anything I can do for you or Coach Cain can do or any of your coaches, please let us know. This is I'm hesitating to say this is a difficult time during coronavirus. Look, Coach, I can't stop. I'm all fired up. Look, here's the deal, okay? Squash, let me throw this at you. Where's the coaster? There was a coaster here. It's right here.
Oh,
Squash and Kachina's. This is a coin. It's got 2 sides to it, right? This would be heads. This would be tails. In our world, this would be black. This would be bear. Okay. But there's a third side. That third side is what they call the rim. Okay. You can stand on a bulldog's head on the rim. Here's the thing. Most people think it's either positive or negative. There's a third option. It's called neutral. It's positive, it's negative, it's neutral. Look, with coronavirus, there's negative. I'm out of school, my season ended. There's positive. Time at home, more free time to do what I want to do, to play hockey in the driveway or whatever it is I need to do. But there's also another thing called neutral. And neutral is where most beneficial thought process occurs. Neutral is where you are often at your best, because when you're neutral, you're most in control. And you got to be in control of yourself before you can control your performance. So don't swing too far to the negative, Debbie Downer. Don't swing too far to the positive, positive Paula. Be neutral. In control of yourself, where your feet are, not counting the days, making the days count, controlling what you can control, get big body language, focus in the present, asking yourself what's important now. What's important now is that we wrap up this call so I can prepare for my 6 o'clock podcast, the biggest podcast in the history of the Brian Payne podcast. I said Brian Payne. That should be my next pen name when I write the next book. Instead of being Matthew Simons, that should be Brian Payne. Any other questions come in there?
is the whole point of the game fun? Meaning hockey? I think your why to have fun is to have fun.
Is that from a Canirum?
Yeah.
Canirum.
Adeline.
Any?
Adeline.
It's from Canirum though. Is that correct?
That's the last name.
The last name. Canirum. Any relation to the bronze medalists in figure skating, Alexa and Chris Canirum, Team USA? Just wondering, by the way. I work with them. They're super, super good people down in Irvine, California. Didn't know if you were related. Is the goal fun? Yes. How do you define fun? The challenge with throwing around a term like fun is some people see fun as going as hard as they can until they pass out on the ice and someone has to pull them off because they're so exhausted from working out. Other people see fun as birthday parties. So you have to be clear with what your definition of fun is. And as a program, what does fun mean? And at different levels, like when you're 8 years old, fun is different than when you're 18 years old. So you got to identify what fun is for you and clearly communicate that with those people that you're playing with so that everyone understands where you're coming from. And as a coach in an organization, we got to say, hey, this is what fun for us is. And I work with some college athletic teams that fun is showing up with your friends and playing hockey. Other ones, fun is doing whatever it takes to win a national championship. Very different. It just comes down to what you're after and how you all define and clearly communicate about fun. Great question. Y'all fired me up here today. I appreciate the opportunity to be a Kachina for a day. I'm now going to drink out of my Kachina's water bottle. If you can see this right here, just kind of ever so in the light. Look,
Your hat shot?
you know what? You saw the coloring book. Right now, your pages are blank again. I gave you some black and white pictures. It's your goal to go fill them in with what we give you, because right now your pages are back to blank. Fill them in with live color, my friends. Dominate the day. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Guys, I thought this was a girls' team.
Girls, you're the one that has to end it.
Oh, it's a girls' team. How do I end this?
It's going to be up on
Yeah, this is like a whole new software to me.